So Lance quite rightly said that, that initially when you look at it, it feels a little bit ridiculous because it would seem as though witnesses that have testified against somebody that's no good, when in fact the person did do the crime, shouldn't get the reciprocal punishment because this is an equality person. And then Lance said that the question was addressed in brief in terms of the corruption of the court system. But then Gavin, there was a point that I mentioned to Gavin because he was asking a question regarding fines, if you remember, Gavin. And you were saying, but as far as fines are concerned, it's wasting the court's time, and therefore that's why you pay a fine. And in this case, the Adam Zimmerman is wasting the court's time, therefore you're paying that penalty. Remember, that's what you said to me. Just,
Yes, I remember. I can't articulate because I'm feeling crap,
but
but
I did
I think
articulate it reasonably for you.
yes, perfect,
Okay.
100%.
So the
Yes.
problem with Gavin's thought process is that nobody deserves to die because they wasted a bit of the court's time. The entire point of the court, generally when the Sanhedrin get together, is they want to use as much time as possible to make sure that they can get somebody off a death penalty case. And that's for one person. For Adam Zommerman, and this is a person that did probably kill Gavin, but they try and get the person off on indirect murder, a technicality. Was he warned? Was he given the right warning in certain rabbinic opinions? I mean, the fact of it is to turn around to a person and say, what you're about to do, you get this death penalty, this exact penalty. Are you aware of it? And get the cognizance of a response. And the person does it anyway, is pretty unlikely. Do you get what I'm saying? Don't worry, the guy doesn't get off. He gets the Bavli treatment where he dies anyway. But the Sanhedrin doesn't do it. So the Sanhedrin spends an inordinate amount of time getting one person off, even though they're probably a killer. In this case where they ate him Zomimim, this person didn't actually kill themselves. They didn't, killing themselves sounds like suicide. Sorry about the wording. They didn't actually commit a murder directly. They used their words to try and have the court kill somebody. So, in other words, it's not as bad as direct. It's a non-action. That was the Gemara's point before. Is that considered as bad as directly murdering somebody oneself? And the question is, even if it's similar, the whole point of the court is not that it's not basically Alice in Wonderland where the queen says off with your head because you wasted her time. The court's not there to kill people because they wasted the court's time. The fining process is a defining process, meaning that's a little bit of a different case. I thought you liked the pun, Kevin. I know you like these shocking puns. It's not punny, but anyway. So what we are saying is, with regards to a fine, that's when you wasted the court's time and witnesses come against you and the judgment is against you, when in fact you have a monetary obligation to return what you stole or pay for what you damaged. But you can hardly compare that to somebody that gets a reciprocal death penalty. Nobody really deserves to die for wasting the court's time. The court is prepared to spend an inordinate amount of time not to kill one person that was probably a direct murderer. And even more so in a case where two people try to get somebody murdered with um, using just speech. So they don't really want to apply the reciprocal death penalty because of a waste of court's time. They're doing that not because of the waste of time, but because of the corruption of the justice system, that you are in fact taking an innocent person that isn't guilty of that crime at that particular time and place, because a second set of witnesses placed those first sets somewhere else at the scene and the time when the crime was meant to take place in that location. And therefore, for that false testimony of trying to get somebody punished, as well as a corruption of justice, that's why they get what they intended to do to their victim. And it's commensurate. If you want an innocent person getting the death penalty, or alternatively, you want somebody to pay money they shouldn't, you will get the reciprocal penalty. But it's not that somebody gets the death penalty for wasting the court's time. I just want to make that very clear. Does everybody, Gav, does that satisfy your question?
Yeah, I'm only about 75% with it today, but yes, I've got that answers me. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it's as Lon said about corruption of the court, where you're having an innocent person Killed. Now, Lance, I agree with you. This guy's a piece of garbage, that one that actually committed murder. Okay? And he probably, deserves what happens to him because what I think could happen in this particular case, and Brendan asked a good question, and Kevin asked it 2 weeks ago. Arthur asked good questions, just not this particular time, but he's told a good joke. So, um, what the issue was that um, as we quite succinctly said, that if a person, what I'm saying is you brought up a question, what's going to happen in the next world? Well, I'll tell you what, if somebody is a gangster and you happen to owe them money and they're threatening to kill you and they've got a track record of having their guys kill other people and witnesses disappearing and all sorts of things, and you're scared for your life and you don't have the money to pay back. Maybe you've got a gambling addiction. Maybe you'd bet on two cockroaches crossing the sidewalk. Whatever your issues are, you're now involved with this gangster that can do some serious harm. It's possible you and a friend of yours figure this guy's no good. He hasn't had a great track record. He is a murderer. He's been very clever to cover his tracks. And we want to get this guy killed before we end up getting killed or somebody else innocent gets killed because, like this guy, the society is not going to miss him. So the logic is it's not that unreasonable that in the next world they might not hold these Adam Zomamim to the same level of guilt because this person has been, or these two witnesses have been tormented by a psychopath. It might be different when you've got two Adam Zimmermen that owe this person a lot of money, and this person would have just taken them to court, and they say, well, why should we pay this guy back? In the meantime, this defendant has actually lent money to one of the guys, and maybe this guy's friend is coming to the aid, at which they're both Adam Zimmerman, and try to help him out of a bad situation. And the guy got convenient amnesia and decided, I'm not going to pay back my debt. Better this guy gets killed. It's almost like the defamer that doesn't want to pay the ketubah when he's not happy with his wife after 6 months and wants to get killed up on a trumped up charge of adultery. So what I'm saying is when you go to Shemaim, Hashem knows all the facts of the case, and the degree of punishment is not uniform across the board. Do you get what I'm saying? That's for something for Hashem to deal with. Our point is exactly as we answered Lance to satisfaction last time, is that if you say you witnessed an event enough to get somebody convicted of that crime, even though they might have committed that crime on a different day, you cannot be a party to them getting punished when in fact you didn't witness such an event. And therefore, for your role in convicting a person that was not yet sentenced by the court, in that particular case, you have to say, serve the consequences. If you happen to be lucky enough in a death penalty case where he committed the offense and was convicted prior to your testimony, well, then you're killing a dead man walking, meaning you can't be retried for killing somebody that is already halachically dead or legally dead. It's the same thing in Sanhedrin 78 where if you had to kill somebody that was already given a death sentence, they wouldn't give you the death sentence because you killed somebody that legally was considered dead. Would they hold that person responsible in Shemaim? Probably. In fact, definitely, because you might not have known that the court sentenced that person to death. That person, in terms of um, having a terminal illness when you plotted against them, amazed. If the court on a technicality doesn't give that murderer the death penalty because it's one of the 18 predisposed, I think it was 18 terminal illnesses within 12 months or whatever. The issue with the Mazed is different when it's almost a terminal illness compared to a court sanctioned execution that has not taken place. But be that as it may, Hashem will know if a person's innocent or guilty in the next world. We can only apply evidence in these court cases. Is that clear in terms of a capital case as to why we do what we do? Yes, no, just nod. Okay, so what we said last time is we didn't want the Gemara to confuse you. The Gemara is not confusing. What's confusing is the fact that, and it's not a criticism to any of you. You guys work a full day, you all work hard, and Shabbos you're busy with family, so it's difficult for you to prepare this year or do revision afterwards. So my job is to give you a pleasant share and do the work. And when you first read the Gemara, sometimes you have to read it many, many times to understand what's going on. And sometimes when I've read it a few times, I don't know what's going on. And then I listen to Rav Simcha Steinhauer, who did over 138 shiurim on Makkot himself in 2023 to a group. And I'm listening for hours because he brings Tosfot, all the sources, the Ritva, Rashash, Yad Ramor, whatever it is, to add a huge amount of depth. So I'm spending hours, but he's spending days. So we're very, very lucky that we can stand on the shoulder of a giant that can go through it in this detail. So when the Gemara comes across and you first read it, it sounds confusing because it says, what about the Sunday? What about the Tuesday? What about the Friday before? What's going? And you read it, you say, hang on, like I don't know my Fridays from my Sundays to the Tuesdays to the Thursdays. What's going on? So just to simplify it, and I'll read it again, just bear in mind that initially the Gemara has a suggestion and says, if you testify that these Eidim Zomimim testify that the crime took place on Sunday at such and such a time and place, and a second set of witnesses said the first set was with them in a different province, then they get the Eidim Zomimim punishment, even though on the Monday, this person in fact did kill somebody on the Monday. Okay? And you could say, well, listen, this person's a murderer. Okay, they might have got the day wrong, but you're not saving anybody here that's worth saving. Why should they get the reciprocal death penalty? So you might come to think, well, maybe because you said it happened on a Sunday and he only killed somebody on the Monday, the day after you said this event transpired. So then the Gemara says, well, what about the previous Friday? So the question the Gemara asks is, well, what happens if he killed somebody the previous Friday? And you come and say that you saw it on the Sunday. The person's already killed. So maybe the Adam Zumamim shouldn't get the reciprocal death penalty because, in fact, he had killed before they said they saw the killing. And therefore, this guy was a murderer. And maybe they shouldn't get the reciprocal punishment. Do you understand why the Gemara brings the Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday shtick? Do you get why? Because they're trying to now get to specific definitions of what you would think would be reasonable to get the Adam Zumamim off the reciprocal death penalty. And the only reason we have is, which Lance and all of you understood at the end of the last session, was in fact this person had to be convicted before uh, uh, you gave your testimony. Okay, convicted. So what's the implication of it? What happens if you said you saw it on Sunday, guys? Not you. I don't want to use you because you're not Adam Tumamim. You're Tzaddikim. But let's I used the wrong pronoun. Today you use the wrong pronoun, you're in trouble. But that's a different issue. Mine,
I don't think you've been
my
watching the
pronoun is
news.
he and him. Just saying.
I don't think you've been watching the news. That's all been scrapped. A female's a female, a male's a male. There's only two genders.
No,
There's
well,
only one pronoun.
thank
Two
God the
pronouns.
mental illness is dissipated. Let's see how it turns out.
Well, disappearing, not 100%, but it's disappearing.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the fact is I don't mean to use your pronouns as a point of guilt. So what I'm saying is the Adam Zomamim. I'm going to ask all of you guys a question. I want each of you to respond. If the Adam Zomamim said they witnessed this defendant murder somebody in Santon City at 9 a.m., and a second set of witnesses say that these were Adam Zimmerman because they were with them in Durban at that time. But this person killed on a Monday and was convicted on the Tuesday. Okay? What do you think but they testified on the Thursday as to the Sunday's event. What do you think happened? Because they said it happened on a Sunday, but they testified on a Thursday. This person killed on a Monday and was convicted on a Tuesday. How do you paskin, guys? Each of you take a stab at it. Each of you give me your opinion.
Well, they still get the punishment.
Why? I want to know your verdict and why.
Because they are diverting the truth.
Okay, but the person, did. Okay, so you're saying because they diverted the truth, they still, under those circumstances, even in that timeline, gets the death penalty. Am I understanding your position? Which is fine. I'm just asking your
Yeah.
position.
Yes.
Who feels like Brendan and who feels different?
I feel different.
Is it he him or is it different? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Gavin.
No, no. I'm just happy. I'm just happy that you're addressing me. I'm just thrilled just to get attention. Uh, I feel different because of the fact I'm really buggered, but I'll do my best. I'll try. Because it's based on when the sentencing hasn't taken place yet, so they can't be. Nothing can happen to them.
No, 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 no. So it's your brain fog, fibromyalgia. What I said,
The other way around then. All
let
right,
me
it's fine.
repeat
I
this,
try.
and I'm happy if you hold by the same position, but just understand the case, guys. The Adim Zimmerman testified on the Thursday that they said this defendant committed the homicide on Sunday at Santon City at 9:30 a.m. Second said they were with him in Durban at the time the crime was meant to take place. The accused committed a murder on the Monday, okay, and was convicted on the Tuesday. The Adam Zimmerman gave their testimony on that Thursday.
Yeah. Can I change my position? It is brain fog. Sorry. The Friday one, the previous week, it's a dead man walking. So that there they're not. They can't put somebody. I mean, they can't testify against somebody who's already dead. But for the Monday one, yes, they have a problem. Sorry. Then I agree with Brandon. Sorry.
Okay, Brendan. My name's Damon, not Demon. Everybody,
Brendan.
just get everybody's name right. I know you're not
But
feeling
I've
well.
got such brain fog. I was lucky that I even got close. I got more or less the right letters.
Okay. Arthur, Lance, Kevin, each of you. Arthur, give it a stab. Quickly. Thanks for changing your background to
Oh,
see a still version of you and a moving version. I was like being on a roller coaster. It was creepy, man, on every level. You in
yeah, I'll put
outer
up the still
space,
version if you want.
ironically, is not as creepy because I always thought
Doesn't
he was
change
an
a lot.
alien. All right, go for it.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is if basically if they lied beforehand, they're guilty, even if the guy did it, because you're not supposed to lie.
Okay,
Basically, they perjured themselves.
okay, Brendan, Gavin, and you, Arthur, all hold at the same level. What's Kevin's opinion, and then what's Lance's opinion? Because Kevin is
Yeah,
often
so
shocked.
if
Oh,
the
Kevin,
guy,
just one thing. Before we have the share finished, you must share with us a Torah idea.
but I've got an idea. It could be a Torah. Yeah.
So if
Okay.
you've got an
Yeah.
idea about this, fine. But but also remember to share your idea about the idea. Okay, go for it.
About this fine, you said fine. Okay, so let's say the murder took place on Monday and the Adim Zimmerman gave false testimony on Thursday. Or is it if the conviction happened before
Okay,
Thursday,
let me
then
just
they
say it
shouldn't
again, Kev, because Kevin's thinking about this carefully. Okay. What happened is on the Thursday, and I'm using the example, let's use dates so that you're not confused about tomorrow, Thursday the 13th. The first set of witnesses said that they witnessed on Sunday, the 9th of February, at 9:30 a.m. at Santon City, a homicide. And a second set said you were not able to witness such a thing because you were with us on Durban at that time at 9:30 a.m. and they were proved to be Edom Zimmerman, but they said they testified to have witnessed the murder on the Sunday. However, on the Monday, the defendant killed somebody, and the court convicted him on the Tuesday. What do we
Yeah,
hold
based
by?
on-
So
yeah,
that's
Kevin's
before
right.
the third,
Based on
before they
conviction.
gave their testimony. It happened before.
Yes,
I mean that they testified.
yes,
What
correct.
day did they say that they saw it, that
No.
they witnessed the
So tomorrow's Thursday, the 13th of February. So I'm saying they come tomorrow, and they say they witnessed this on Sunday, the 9th of February. The guy actually, it didn't happen. Adam Zimmerman, but the guy committed a murder on the 10th. Because they only arraigned him for a hearing on nothing happened on the 9th. On the 10th, he committed a murder. Then they convicted him on the Tuesday, the 11th. But the Adam Zimmerman said that he killed somebody on the 9th, and no such murder took place on the 9th, and all the testimony is happening tomorrow. How do we hold?
until conviction. Okay, so
Yeah,
if
okay,
it's
but tell me
before,
how we hold in this case. You need to apply what you've learned with how to apply it here.
So I'm changing my position for the fifth time.
No,
Third
you
time.
can't do that. You're in.
No, I know what it is
The
now.
the blackjack table, but you
No,
put your
I
chips
won't
down.
based on whether they been convicted or not. If they've been convicted, that's dead man walking. If they haven't been convicted yet, then you're going to get the reciprocal punishment.
yeah.
Okay, but the roulette wheel has turned. All right, Kevin, what's yours and what's Lance?
That's what Gavin
I got
said.
it third time
That's-
right, and I got like 50% brain fog. I did okay.
I agree with what Gavin
Listen,
said.
listen. I'm just the dealer. I
Not dealers.
don't
That's
own
what
the
I
casino. All right. You can change your verdict. You got brain fog.
different type of dealer. All right.
All right, fine. Lance, well,
Look, you know what? I think that the court would laugh at them and throw them out because you can't testify to a murder that happened on Sunday, which it happened on Monday. They were convicted. They don't need witnesses anyway. They obviously had their witnesses. The guy's been convicted already. Why waste time on people who come and say that it happened the day before? The person is convicted already. The court tries to save lives, not to look for lives. I don't know why these guys are coming forward and saying that. I don't know why they would come forward. Surely the court explains to them, if you give a false testimony, you're liable for death sentence. These guys already been convicted. What are you trying to achieve by being a witness?
okay, I hear that. Look, I'm going to explain that afterwards. Let's just discuss how this would actually play out, and then I'm going to answer Lance's question. He asked two questions in once. Okay? How we actually hold is we hold exactly like Kevin and Gavin state, by the fact that it works on the date of testimony. So if you have your testimony on, for example, tomorrow, Lance, the 13th of February, about an event that occurred prior, and this person was a dead man walking prior, whether it was on the 10th or in the 11th, it's obvious in a case where you say the person committed a murder on Sunday the 9th, but he actually was convicted of the murder before on the 6th or the 7th. It's easy that. The Gemara goes one step further. We say, well, how far can you push this thing? And the Gemara's bottom line is that if before the testimony this guy's been convicted, but it happens to be after when they said the event took place, he's still got the legal status as defendant of dead man convicted. He might not have been executed that. And therefore the Adam Zimmerman don't get the reciprocal penalty, not because they don't deserve it, because you're testifying against somebody that's legally dead. So it's just like you can't kill somebody that's legally dead in Sanhedrin. So we're saying as long as when they brought their testimony, this person was convicted prior, it doesn't mean that he had to be convicted prior to the Sunday, they said, like on the previous Friday. It could have been that he committed the murder after they said they saw it on the Monday, and he was only convicted on the Tuesday. Because if they give him the testimony not on Tuesday the 11th, but on Thursday the 13th, it suffices because he's dead man working, convicted legally of being dead prior to the Adam Zomamim, and therefore whether you kill him directly or through testimony, you haven't done anything. You can't convict somebody for killing a dead person. Okay, so just understand that. I'll explain Lance's question now. Lance, do you get that? So
Yeah.
what the legal case does here, and I'm going to read in the Gemara. I promise you, you read it yourself, you're going to be thoroughly confused. I had to do a lot of work to get clarity on this. I know it's sounding very simple when I give it over now. Try reading it. And reading Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, it'll drive you crazy. So all I'm saying is I wanted to give you the bottom line. I know it took away some of the novelty of the case, but I thought the novelty would have been superseded by the frustration, unless you had hours to invest. So in terms of Lance's point, Lance, the point is as follows, is you would go according to the Ritva. So the Ritva has this thing almost, in certain cases where if a person can't see, like Christopher Reeve or Superman, and that person doesn't have extraordinary vision, we wouldn't accept him as a witness. In other words, sometimes Adam Zimmerman would never come to pass because the person wouldn't be accepted as a witness to start with. Never mind you explain to them about the reciprocal penalty. So firstly, Lance, Tosfos says, if you don't have skin in the game and we cannot do to you what you intended to do to your defendant, we cannot accept you as a witness. That's the base bottom line premise. And on that case, it might not occur. Another thing the Ritva said is, if we say that we convict them for Adam Zimmerman because we judge on the speed of an average donkey to get to a place, on average eyesight, and these people wanted to kill this person, and they claim to have a supersonic horse or donkey, an extra keen eyesight. We can't go on that, and we explain to them before you testify. Are you sure this is the case? Because if you know it's out of the normative standard, you're going to be convicted for convicting this person. Just be normal. And according to the Ritva, these people wouldn't be allowed as witnesses to start with. So Lance, you're in good company with the Ritva. But Tosfot said if they are accepted, these people have to know they're going to lose their lives if they cause this. Why did they cause it? Because, Brendan, it's not necessarily about innocence. It's also about, like even Arthur and you said, is a person's terrified they're going to get killed from this person. They do extraordinary things to make sure this person's like away from them because they're scared. They're scared. It doesn't mean that all Adam Zimmermen are necessarily evil people. Many are. Maybe they don't want to pay debts and they want somebody killed rather than to pay back a debt. Maybe they're scared this person's a gangster and they're betting on the fact that this person kills people regularly like a serial killer or has his guys do it. And they're scared. They know it's just a matter of time before they know he killed somebody, like Brendan, right? They know he killed somebody. They know who he killed. You hear it on the street talk, but they don't know when and where. So they put together what they can do from people having rumors, and they say, let's get this guy done because he's just a matter of time before we another statistic in his list of people not paying him back. You get it. Let Kevin teach us, but you get what I'm saying. It's nuanced.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Before Kevin teaches us, do you have any questions, guys? Because I do want Kevin to teach us. Yes, no?
No, good. Thank you. Thanks for clearing it up for all of us.
All right. It wasn't so easy to learn. All right.
Yitzhak, Damon, for giving it over in a
It's very good. You can see
palatable
my
way.
complexity.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Kev, teach us.
Okay. So just two things. One thing is actually from Parashat Mishpatim, which that goes through all the mitzvot, 53 actually, and it's quite a long parasha. And one of the things that are discussed is father sells his daughter to be a servant in a house for a master, and the issue is it seems like a bit politically incorrect or cruel to do such a thing, but his intention, according to the commentaries here in the art scroll Chumash, is that he wants that eventually the end game is to have this daughter marry the son of the master. That is it's not he's getting rid of her, he's making money. So it's with actually noble intentions, whereas modern thinking would think otherwise. They need money, they need to monetize their personal assets, so to speak. So that's what it actually is. And it says here also he would have been if the marriage doesn't materialize to the son of the master, then it would be a major disappointment. Okay, I don't know if people knew that. I saw that this week. And then another idea. Can I give another idea?
Of course.
Okay, so actually, this is more of a personal interaction type situation. So yesterday I needed assistance from one of the banks here, and a guy helped me in English, and he said to me, obviously he gets a salary from this financial institution, but he loves helping people. And he says he gets satisfaction and joy from helping people, solving their problems. That gives him, he's gaining from doing that. And what we should all strive for is to try think what others may need or how we can help them or assist them, and not, I know it's a lifetime work, as I keep on saying, try think of others, what they may need, and try help wherever one can, whatever, if it's monetarily, physically, a kind word, those all can uplift people and help them in whatever way.
You know what, Kevin, I think that's a good point. And I just want to, on your particular point, there was interesting discussion that if you're going to become a multimillionaire in this world, how do you not lose Olam Haba because you're getting paid out in this world? And what you've got to think of is an analogy, guys, of a doctor. If a person becomes a doctor to heal somebody and their goal is to save lives, etc., and they earn a living and they put their kids through college, like you get wonderful doctors like Dr. Makkos or whatever that really do like a lot of good, and they happen to have done well, but they've got 60 or 80 kids to pay for in Israel and all sorts of other things. It's expensive, but their primary goal is healing people, and so the reward, they're not being paid out in this world. They're getting benefits in this world, but they're getting the fruits, but not the capital gains, etc. But if they're in it for the money, then they're paid out. So it's about the mindset when you're doing mitzvahs. Nothing stops you from taking both. Yeah.
About the thing that Kevin said about his daughter going away, it's like a parent giving up their child to another parent to look after it, give it a better life. That's what he's doing. You give a kid for adoption. So he's kind of giving it to them for so they can marry the son, so they can have a better life than what he had.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's kind of the concept. And the other one about giving, I find caregiving gives me a lot of satisfaction. I mean, it's harder work than people think, and then you see stuff you don't want to see, but you're helping people that really need it, like that lawyer does. I mean, we have a thing